Let's get right into it. Number 10. The Unbreakable Window Test. A lawyer named Gary Hoy worked in a Toronto skyscraper back in 1993. He had a weird party trick to impress new students at his law firm. His trick was running full speed into the windows to prove how unbreakable they were. He'd done this multiple times before without any issues. The windows were strong, designed to withstand serious impact. On this particular day, Gary decided it was showtime again. He backed up, got a running start, and slammed right into the window. The glass didn't break like he expected. Instead, the entire window frame popped out of the wall. The glass was unbreakable, but the frame couldn't handle a 160-pound lawyer repeatedly body slamming it. Gary and the unbreakable window took a 24-story plunge together. The window passed his test. It never broke, even after hitting the ground. Gary, unfortunately, was significantly more breakable than the window. His law firm closed a few years later. The incident became famous and was featured on TV shows about bizarre deaths. Number 9. The Lawyer Who Proved Too Much. In 1871, a lawyer named Clement Vallandigham was defending a murder case in Ohio. His client was accused of shooting someone, but Clement's defense theory was the victim actually shot himself by accident while drawing his gun. He decided to demonstrate exactly how it happened. He grabbed what he thought was an unloaded pistol to show the jury how easy it would be to accidentally shoot yourself while pulling out your weapon. The gun was loaded. When Clement pulled the trigger during his demonstration, he shot himself right in the abdomen. The lawyer, trying to prove someone could accidentally shoot themselves, accidentally shot himself. Clement died about 12 hours later, but his dramatic demonstration actually worked. His client was found not guilty after Clement's death. Number 8. The Flying Tailor's Final Stitch. Paris, 1912. A crowd gathered at the Eiffel Tower watching a man in a weird, bulky suit standing on the edge of the first platform. This was Franz Reichelt, a tailor who decided making pants wasn't exciting enough. Franz created a wearable parachute for pilots. He first tested it by dropping dummies from his 5th-floor apartment. When that sort of worked, his ego inflated. Despite everyone telling him not to jump off the Eiffel Tower, Franz was determined. So there he stood, 187 feet up, wearing what looked like a Halloween costume designed by someone who's never seen a parachute. Cameras rolled. He spread his arms and stepped off the edge. His revolutionary parachute suit did exactly nothing. It didn't open. It didn't slow him down. It just made him look extra ridiculous during his 4-second fall to the ground. The crowd watched him create a human-shaped crater in the frozen ground below. Number 7. The Beard That Killed. Imagine being so proud of your beard that you literally die for it. That's what happened to Hans Steininger, the mayor of a small Austrian town called Braunau am Inn back in the 1500s. This guy was elected mayor 6 times in a row. Not because of his political skills, it was because of his magnificent beard that measured 4.5 feet long. That's taller than most children. Hans usually kept his facial masterpiece neatly rolled up in a leather pouch to avoid tripping, but on September 28, 1567, a fire broke out in town. Hans rushed to help his people. Unfortunately, in the chaos, he forgot to tuck his beard away. While running down some stairs, he stepped on his own facial hair. He tripped, fell, and snapped his neck. Killed by his own beard. After his death, they actually removed his beard before burial. It was passed down through generations. Today, you can visit a museum in his hometown and see the actual beard that murdered its owner. Number 6. The Daredevil versus the Orange Peel. Bobby Leach was a professional daredevil. In 1911, at 54 years old, he went over Niagara Falls in a custom steel barrel. The barrel smashed into rocks as it plummeted 167 feet. Bobby survived, but with serious injuries. Rescuers pulled him from the currents after 20 minutes. He became an instant celebrity, touring the world with his dented barrel. This man survived Niagara Falls. Then, in 1926, while walking down a street in New Zealand, he stepped on an orange peel. The man who survived Niagara Falls slipped on fruit. He broke his leg. The break got infected with gangrene. Doctors amputated his leg, but Bobby died during the surgery. The daredevil who survived Niagara Falls was killed by an orange peel. Number 5. Hoarder's booby trap Backfire. Langley Collier died in one of his own house traps in 1947. Langley and his brother Homer weren't your average New Yorkers. They were born into a wealthy family, but decided to never throw anything away. Their Manhattan brownstone was packed floor to ceiling with over 100 tons of junk, newspapers stacked to the ceiling, 14 pianos, thousands of books, and even a Model T Ford inside their house. But Langley wasn't just a hoarder. He was also convinced people were trying to break in and steal their imaginary fortune. Langley spent years creating booby traps throughout the house. tripwires connected to avalanches of junk that would fall on any intruders. One day, while crawling through his own labyrinth to bring food to his blind, paralyzed brother, Langley triggered one of his own traps. A massive pile of newspapers and debris came crashing down, pinning him in place. He was crushed and suffocated by his own paranoid creation, just feet away from the brother he was trying to feed. His brother Homer, unable to move or see, slowly starved to death waiting for Langley to return. When police finally found them weeks later, they had to remove tons of garbage just to locate the bodies. Number 4. The man who laughed himself to death. Back in 1975, a British bricklayer named Alex Mitchell was watching his favorite comedy show, The Goodies. The episode Ecky Thump was apparently side-splittingly funny. Alex started laughing and couldn't stop. He laughed continuously for 25 straight minutes. His heart couldn't handle the excitement and gave out. He literally died from laughter. His wife Nessie wrote a thank you letter to the stars of The Goodies, thanking them for making her husband's final moments enjoyable before he died watching their show. Possibly the darkest thank you note in history. Years later, Alex's granddaughter Lisa nearly died from a sudden cardiac arrest. Doctors diagnosed her with long QT syndrome, a rare heart condition where strong emotions can trigger fatal heart rhythms. It turns out Alex likely had this same genetic heart condition. His heart's electrical system short-circuited from all the laughter. Number 3. Death by falling turtle. Aeschylus was a famous playwright in ancient Greece, basically the Steven Spielberg of 455 BC. Then a turtle fell from the sky and crushed his skull. That's how Aeschylus died. According to historical accounts, an eagle grabbed a turtle. Since turtle shells are hard to crack, eagles drop them onto rocks to break them open. This eagle spotted Aeschylus's shiny bald head, mistook it for a rock, and dropped the turtle, killing the father of tragedy. A man who wrote about the cruel twists of fate was killed by possibly the most random death in history. Artists were so fascinated by this bizarre death, they even made artwork of it. Modern historians think this story might be more legend than fact. Number 2. The Emperor's Deadly Immortality Potion. Imagine being so afraid of death that you accidentally kill yourself trying to live forever. This happened to Emperor Qin Shi Huang, the man who unified China and built the Great Wall. He was absolutely terrified of dying, so he hired ancient scientists to make him immortal. These alchemists convinced him that mercury was the secret ingredient to eternal life. Yes, mercury, the same stuff we now know is super toxic. The emperor started taking mercury pills. His alchemists promised these would give him eternal youth and unlimited power. But mercury doesn't make you immortal, it makes you dead. The really messed up part is while he was busy poisoning himself, he also sent an explorer named Xu Fu on a mission to find a magical tree of deathlessness somewhere in the Pacific Ocean. Xu Fu and his entire fleet never returned, likely because there's no such thing as a deathlessness tree. What's even weirder is that this wasn't just a one-time thing in ancient China. For centuries afterward, other Chinese emperors kept trying similar deadly immortality potions with ingredients like mercury and arsenic. Apparently, the lesson "don't drink poison to live forever" was a tough one to learn. The irony is a man so desperate to avoid death literally poisoned himself to death. Number 1. The composer's fatal foot tap. Jean-Baptiste Lully was the favorite composer of King Louis XIV of France. Back in the 1600s, conductors didn't use small batons. Lully used a massive wooden staff to keep time by pounding it on the floor. During a performance celebrating the king's recovery from surgery, Lully got too enthusiastic. He accidentally smashed the giant staff right into his own foot. This was the 1600s, when even minor wounds could be deadly. The wound got infected, and gangrene started spreading through his foot. Doctors told him they needed to amputate his leg to save his life. Lully, who was also a dancer, refused the amputation, wanting to keep his leg. The gangrene spread, and he died. The irony is the performance celebrated the king's successful surgery, while Lully refused his own life-saving one. That's all for today. I'll be making similar videos in the future. Subscribe to see them.